Are you interested in knowing how to let your livestock gain weight the right way? Yes, I said the right way because not every way to gain weight is right. Well, that is why today's episode is of major interest to you. By the way, you're welcome to Farming in Africa YouTube channel, your channel for everything livestock information. Let's go to Fred as he educates us on how important nutrition is as a whole and how to gain weight the right way for your livestock. In our last webinar, Fred placed emphasis on seeing livestock farming as a business where you have to be intentional about your operations so you can get a good return on your investments. Now, he touched on the various aspects you have to concentrate on to do well. And when he touched on the various aspects you have to consider to have a successful livestock business, there came very interesting questions, and I want to start this discussion with a particular question somebody asked on that webinar. Now, Fred, the question was, how do I miraculously make my animals gain weight suddenly so that I can sell them off and make money?
Yes.
Because you talk about it being business and getting your profits.
Yeah.
So today, let's start this discussion on nutrition, basically.
Okay.
Starting from the question this gentleman asked, I want to make my animals gain weight miraculously.
Yeah.
Is there a miraculous way of
Yeah.
making the animals gain weight so I can sell them off as a farmer to
Yeah.
make my money? The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Nadia, and thank you all of you for helping us help you set up a very successful webinar last week. I think it was very overwhelming. The numbers were great. The information was great. The interaction was there. I think this is the future now. The goal is for us to hold a webinar every month and be able to connect with you guys. I know the one-on-ones is not working for me because my time is so limited and I can't meet all of you one-on-one, but being able to have a big group like over 100, or even 200 people in one place and doing that is the best and sustainable way to go. So thank you guys for showing up, and I hope it was as educative as expected. And if you couldn't, there is another one coming this month as well. So please book your spots and I will see you there.
Definitely.
Thank you for the question, Nadia. Coming back to that, I think that is the goal and hope, if that's what I should call it, for every livestock farmer. It's like, how do we get it big? But even when we say big, define big. So a livestock goes through a cycle. It all has different, but from birth, they depend on their parents for a lot of what they need to be able to grow healthy.
Where parents mean their mother, basically.
they depend. Sometimes the fathers will help too. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So they depend on their mother to get what they need.
Yes.
And at those moments, farmers are chilled. We are not so in a rush. We know that they are getting breast milk, and for some reason we all have such good hopes in breast milk. We don't know why. I have not done the research, but we all do. So we are chilled. Where does the rush comes in, or the greediness of us comes in? It comes after 3 months when they've picked up. The mom have done their magic. We've probably thinking about winning them. If it's a goat, you're looking about 3 months, 4 months, depending on what kind of goat you have. If you're doing cattle, maybe you're thinking about 6 or 8 months. And that's when it comes in. Now the burden is on us.
Yeah, that's
it's like,
true.
Okay, mom has done the job. It's now up to me, the farmer, to actually get these goats to grow again. What is happening here? What do I do?
It's a huge responsibility.
Exactly, if you think about it. Right?
True.
So then people get into that state of like, okay, this goat is, I saw it grew from a baby to a certain level, but now I'm not really seeing that much. It's very slow. What is happening? And then we all have these questions. And unfortunately, most people tend to medications, right? There's a lot of fake medication telling you, give the goats this. Some people even overgive vitamins, right? Thinking that it will help the goats either eat more or grow fat. I want to use this platform to educate all of you that there is no injection out there that is sustainable enough and also healthy enough to give to your animal to gain the weight that you're looking for, right? And I'm glad you want to talk about nutrition, because I believe, and I think there is a lot of research backing this, that the only way to fulfill the livestock's potential is through feed. And we can go more into that. But
it's through feed.
Yes.
Stay a bit on the medications because there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yeah.
Even in human terms. Yeah. You find people claiming that take this and then you get bloated up and it causes a whole lot of... So I want you to stay a bit more on that. Yeah. And that's why I'm going to ask you, is there anything like steroids in livestock business?
So if you say, is there anything... Okay. They could be, but it is not healthy.
It is not healthy.
Right? And it's not even sustainable. You're not, yes. So what people will advertise to you are things that they have taken from, again, the plants.
Yes.
Or the nutrients.
Yes.
Right? And mix it with something.
Yes.
Right? But the problem here is they are not in their natural state to be able to give the animal the full thing that it needs. So they are missing different things that those that are doing that doesn't even have the proper licenses and skills to even do it. So at the end of the day, you're giving the animal a lot of things. But don't forget that as you give to an animal, you think you're giving it to an animal, but in other sense, you're actually giving it to a human being.
Yeah, the
because
consumer.
Indirectly, the consumer is going to eat it.
Yeah.
Right? So it is very, very dangerous. And I, if you're watching me and you're a livestock farmer, I hope and pray that you will stay away from it.
Wow.
Right? And that's why we continue to talk about our 5 pillars in farming in Africa. And the number 1 is the genetic, because if you get the right genetics and you do the right things, you will get the size that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So you can have a West African dwarf and expect that West African dwarf to weigh 60, 70 kg.
No.
By giving it certain sort of medication, right? You can have, a locally breeded cow and expect that cow to be weighing 300 kg. Wow. It is not possible, right? But physically, I have seen a cow that weighs 1,000 kg.
Whoa.
Right? And it's like, that is the genetic of that cow.
Wow.
So if you want that, you need to start with the right genetic. And sometimes to our pharmaceutical companies also are to be blamed, but hey, they are not even here. A lot of our medications are coming from China and India, and you will see they intentionally put big cows, big animals on, aspiring farmers to do that, right? And that's why all our medications, we actually buy them from South Africa, right? Because that's the genesis of the Boer goats, the Kalahari goats, and they've used it for years, right?
So now you've clarified that medications isn't a sustainable way to make your animals gain weight. Yeah. So for the gentleman who asked that question, now to you, Fred, it means there is no miracle then.
Yeah. There is a miracle.
I just want him to to understand that there isn't any sudden miracle to cause that sudden weight gain. So if there isn't, then as a farmer, a livestock farmer, what can we do to still get that appreciable weight gain to be able to get our return on the investments we've put in?
So, like I said, there is a miracle, but that miracle is not through medication. It's not through injection.
And is it sudden? Because
it is. It depends on what your definition of sudden is.
Oh, okay.
I think in 3 months. And what are you expecting from that animal? In 3 months, I think I can put an animal on a good diet that will help the animal increase weight on a maybe weekly basis. Good. We weigh our animals every week, right? So I have seen our animals grow on a weekly basis because they were put on the right diet.
So 3 months, it's reasonable.
No, it is. Even weekly, you will be able to see the growth. But is that growth enough for you? What are you looking for?
Great.
Right. And to me, as far as the animal is not declining in weight, then it's growing. But it gets to a point where it will not, because it has reached its fullness. Wow. And if you even give it more, then you now start having complications.
Wow.
Even if it's a female, then it starts giving you abortions. It gets to a point where it cannot even give birth again, right? If it's a male, then you get it too fat that it can't even mate.
So nutrition is that important?
Oh yes, it is important. The same way it is to human beings. If you see a well-fed human being and if you see a koshioko baby, you will see the clear difference of somebody who is well-fed and somebody who is not being fed.
So talking of getting a return on investment, because I love the way you always advocate for seeing livestock farming as a business.
Yeah.
Now, please educate us on how to get good weight gain so that we can have good return on our investment. And to the gentleman, there isn't any 3-day miracle for you. You sounded very impatient in the comments.
Yeah.
So this time around, listen, you would have to exercise some patience because every good thing takes quite a time to get to its completion.
Yes.
So Fred is going to educate us on how to gain weight the right way so that you can get good return on your investment.
All right. I'm not a nutritional expert.
Okay.
You know, but I have been in this industry enough to do my own research and to experiment with our own farm to be able to gather enough to share with you guys. And that's what I'm going to share with you. So I always say, and I have a friend who always says, you take care of your goats more than yourself. And I do agree with but anytime I'm giving an example of goats, I also use human being as an example because I believe we all require certain nutrients to grow.
Yes.
Even our teeth, our nails, our bones,
our hair.
They all need certain nutrients to grow.
Yeah.
So if you're doing livestock farming, then your animals need certain nutrients to grow. What are these nutrients, right? It's mostly similar across, but there are just a few things that their body can generate efficiently enough that we don't need to supplement.
Okay.
Right. There are others that they can't or they do not get that much that we need to then supplement.
Yeah.
But what do they need? Like I said, I always compare it to human. So it's the same nutrients. So you look at your carbohydrate for energy, right? You look at your protein right?
Focus,
Exactly. You're looking at your fiber, right? You're looking at your calcium to potassium ratio.
Yeah.
So with livestock, especially with goats, the ratio is very important of potassium and calcium, right? Then you're looking at your phosphates, you're looking at your copper, you're looking at your zinc, right? You're looking at your iron. Right, iron is also very important. Then you even want to come into your vitamins. So if you're dealing with goats, the 3 key one is the vitamin A, D, E.
Okay.
These are very key vitamins for livestock. You know, they might get a bit of it under the sun with fresh forage, but normally it's not enough. You need to supplement.
It's not enough.
So these are the vitamins that they need to have in their food. Most of these vitamins can be found in the plants and food that they eat.
Yeah.
So you might be doing random grazing or you might have a vast land where they graze on.
Yeah.
The hope is that when they go out to graze, they get variety of plants out there.
Yes.
And each of these plants should have a bit of something in there, which is all these components that I've described.
Yes.
But that is always not the case.
Definitely.
The reason why it's always not the case is most of these minerals comes from the soil.
Okay.
And we know that each area of our continent has different types of soil.
Definitely, yes.
So you might be in the north, your soil type is different from being at the south.
Yeah.
That means that the nutrient component in the soil differs.
Yes.
So a goat in the north might be getting selenium from the soil, but a goat in the south doesn't have selenium in that soil.
Yes.
Because we are not able to test in our environment here or in our area here, we then have to supplement. So that's when the supplementation comes in.
Yes.
Right. So if you're doing grazing, whether it being random or whether it being confined by a specific area, the natural feed is great. We want them to eat majority of that.
Yeah.
But then we also assume that because we don't know for a fact what is inside the soil
Yes.
to be able to feed the plant with, even though they are eating the plant, our assumption is they do not have everything they need. So when they do not have everything they need, then what happens? It causes issues.
Yes.
So then you as the farmer now looks at your goat and you say, look at the hair of this goat.
Yeah.
This nature of hair means that the goat is lacking this, or the
Yes.
cattle is lacking that,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe this goat is pregnant and I'm seeing this series of abortion in my head. That means that
Yeah.
these goats are lacking this.
Yeah.
Or whenever they give birth, the babies cannot actually stand.
Wow.
Their bones are weak,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? Or even in the process of giving birth, due to lack of copper, they are not even able to give birth. So they are always struggling. So there is so much complications that you're going to see in your livestock head to know that, okay, this is what is missing. This is what is missing here. This is what I need to top up, right? But if you're also not good at it, then supplement them with a feed that basically have all the nutrients in it.
So what you are saying is supplementation is very important.
Yeah.
It helps you to cover the deficiencies you might not even be aware of as a farmer.
Yes. And sometimes too, you need more than you get.
Yes, you need more than you get.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So they might get it. Maybe they get vitamin A, they're getting their D and E. But at this stage, their pregnancy, they need more.
Yeah.
Right. So if I want to fatten my weaned males because they are just going to the abattoir, and this is something that the piggery industry understands very well.
I see.
That this is a slaughter pig, and therefore I need to get it to this weight
and just
at
sell
this.
it off. Yeah.
Now you play with the ratio of nutrients you give them,
I see.
which is completely different from the ratio of nutrients you will give to a female or a pregnant male, or a male that's going for just mating, your breeding male.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that is where you come in. So if you want to fatten your goats, your sheep, your cattle, your pig, what you need is what we call the blueprint of ratio of feed or ratio of nutrients that you need to combine to make a feed for them. And that is basically the trade secrets.
The trade secrets
of every, I guess, feed company or a farmer.
Wow, hold it right there for us, because you've just shared so much in such a short space.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're talking of blueprint of feed ratio, and listen, hopefully the next question would help you throw more light on it for us, because I feel like we are delving deeper into this nutrition now.
Yeah.
Farming in Africa is known to advocate for sustainable livestock farming.
Yeah.
And that's why at your own farm, Sementia Learning and Development Farm, you proudly tell farmers you grow your own feed, you produce your own feed.
Yeah.
And talking from experience, you have tried and tested some of these ratios, some of these diet plans, and you've seen concrete results.
Yeah.
Now, what should we expect from farming in Africa to the general public of livestock farmers who are very conscious of nutrition as a whole?
What can the public expect from us? I think when it comes to nutrition, we are already doing a lot in terms of processing the supplementary food. So at the moment, if you go to our agro ventures, which is in Achimota, opposite the Achimota DVLA, once you get to the Achimota DVLA, ask anybody you're going to farming in Africa and they will direct you. It's right very close. Or you can put it in Google, farming in Africa agro store. It will bring you there. If you go there, right, we have processed food.
The livestock feed.
Which has all the nutrients that I've talked about today embedded in it. Right? So this feed is, if you're doing cattle or sheep or like bigger animals, this feed is not going to be sustainable feed for a whole day feed. because cows will eat a lot.
Yeah.
But this feed is a supplement for you to be able to give to them to complement what they needed enough of or what they didn't get out there.
Yeah.
Right. For our goats, we give them maybe about 1/3% of their food as this feed, because we know what they are getting and we know what we've put into this feed, right? And again, depending on the stages they are in, what ratio we are giving to them. So I think that feed is really going to change the livestock industry, because what it does is we are never going to be missing on any nutrient. And let me even finish this. A simple nutrient as iron, right, which is basically salt.
Yeah.
But a goat or a cattle walking around, hardly will we give them salt to eat.
Yes, you're right.
Right? And if they are walking around and looking for salt, they intend even chewing plastic. Just because there's a leftover feed that they can taste salt in it.
That's true.
Right? Other farmers will buy the salt lick as well, which also helps in giving them that. But if we are not intentional about these things, then we are not going to get the best out of them. Right? So this feed has all that nutrients for you to be able to supplement your feed, whatever feed method that you.
Today we came your way with the importance of nutrition and why, as a livestock farmer, you should be intentional about supplementing the feed for your livestock or animals, because when they go out there, they don't get everything, and even if they get it, they don't exactly get it in the right proportions or ratios as Fred mentioned. And that's why here at Farming in Africa, we have done the homework for you by already going into what it would take to bring all of those nutrients together, the minerals, the vitamins, and we have come up with a specially formulated livestock feed. Like he rightly mentioned, if you're rearing cattle, don't think this is something you're going to feed the animals with daily. The name, it is a supplement feed, a little at a time, and it's very economical, because some of you come into our DMs asking of the price and how long it would last. We would go into that in later videos. Even in previous videos we've covered it, but there is a reason it's called a supplement feed. It is very economical. Once again, our team is always available to you for correspondence if you are interested in getting details. And no matter where you are, I must say that here in Ghana we do deliveries. Actually, we have a physical shop in Tamale and right here in Accra too, all across the country. Just contact us and we would get it for you. Please remember to be intentional about doing this livestock business right, so you can get a return on investment. I want you to join me to say a big thank you to our teacher and our mentor, Fred. Thank him, and we all thank you so much for sharing this knowledge with us, especially when we know your reason for passionately doing it. It's very humbling, and we want to say thank you. We are very, very grateful. So on behalf of Farming in Africa and the entire team, thank you for staying tuned. If you're already a subscriber, you know what to do. I don't want you to miss out on that promise video we are going to give you. So hit the notification button. And if this is your first time watching us, this is Farming in Africa YouTube channel, your go-to channel for everything livestock. See you in our next video, and we thank you so much. Bye-bye.